Thank you so much, and it is fantastic to be here, and it's a fun space, and such fun to actually be with these three fantastic ladies for the conversation today. And it was extremely nice of you not to say all of my jobs over the last 30 years, but it's actually true, and it's kind of amazing because when I went to business school in 1986 with this idea that I might want to somehow use a set of skills that involved management and finance and numbers, after having been in a quasi-social work position, there were 6 of us in the nonprofit management program that year. And the idea of a conference like this was just utterly unimaginable, and I take so much joy and I feel so optimistic every time I am in front of an audience like this. Let's see, I hope that the technology gods cooperate too. And really, this conference today and what we're all here to share and what we've heard from the fabulous Cheryl Dorsey and Tracy Palanchian is an understanding that the problems facing people, places, and the planet itself, that these are so urgent and so large and so complex that we have to find the fresh ideas, the inventive enterprises, and the capital in all its forms, whether it's coming through a social impact bond, a good old grant, a recoverable grant, a government funded aid package, or an impact investment. No one solution, but without the money, there is no mission. So that is why I'm very pleased to talk with you about the particular forms of impact investing that we've been involved with and that we think we need a whole lot more of to really make meaningful headway at the pace and scale that today's world requires. Now, you may know the MacArthur Foundation because people like the winner of this year's Tony for Hamilton is what? A MacArthur Fellow, genius. A very proud moment. And the reason that we have the MacArthur Fellows program, and that's what we call them, that we don't call them the Genius Grants, the press does, is because it's about ideas, creativity in its purest form. You may also know about MacArthur Foundation because recently we launched something called 100 and Change. And that's about $100 million for an organization, not a person, but an organization to take on one big problem and bring it to ground. And that's because we understand organizations are really where impact plays out and is brought into reality. And capital. For 30 years, we've been doing impact investing, and as you heard, we have $500 million devoted to that practice. And we've used that in all kinds of ways, making apartments more energy efficient, preserving and improving affordable housing for a low-income senior, seeding microcredit organizations abroad in the very earliest years of the field, taking on environmental conservation back when people didn't really even understand what that meant. So we have this 30-year history, and today there are more enterprises than ever before that need that kind of capital because the social sector, as we've already heard, it's diversifying, it's changing, and its capital needs are growing and diversifying too. There are 1,200 B Corps. There are 700 Echoing Green enterprises. There are Skoll Fellows. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of microcredit providers. There's $11 billion worth of assets managed by community finance organizations in the US. It's an incredible, immense sector. And impact investing, which you heard about from Tracy, is rising up to meet it. We now have all kinds of mainstream banks jumping in, the Morgan Stanleys, Bain Capital, BlackRock. We have advisors, wealth advisors, specialty advisors, thousands of them, a 70% jump in assets that are managed sustainably around the world between 2012 and 2014 alone. So there's an industry racing to meet this need of the social sector. There are specialty firms in recruitment for talent. Net Impact is setting up a portal for career advice. policy changes from the US government and around the world, new data and ratings, SASB, Bloomberg, and a lot of money. Sounds like it, right? $15 billion just from the Global Impact Investors Network. Sounds great. Millennials are driving this. We've already heard about brands that are sustainable being attractive. We also know that women are driving this. There's a $59 trillion wealth transfer coming, and we're hearing that millennials in some cases believe overwhelmingly that impact should be part of their investment decisions. That's really exciting. It's part of why we think this is not just a blip on the horizon or screen, but something secular, and that's really here to stay. And in fact, I think one of the most astonishing statistics that I saw recently in the different studies, 77% of millennials think they would pay more for a sustainable brand. 93%, according to US Trust, think impact is important to their investing, even if it means taking higher risk or lower return. So that sounds fantastic, like a huge untapped opportunity. But something's not working. It's too hard, it's too slow, it's too costly for the enterprises that need this capital to get it in the forms that work. And that is no surprise. It is not because investors are blind or stupid or lazy, or for the most part. And it's not because the enterprises are just, run by the seat of their pants by people who don't know what they're doing and who can't just figure out how to standardize and scale and be really nice and tidy and cookie cutter for those investors. It's because when an organization is all about mission, it needs a solution that's purpose-built. They might not have collateral, they might be unproven, they might be small relative to what the investor is used to looking at. It may take more effort, and we know how to do that. We have put those puzzle pieces in place with our own capital at MacArthur for 30 years. Millions and millions and millions of dollars, unlocking often tenfold as much. $1 into a credit union that is serving immigrants, and they can unlock $7 with that impact investment to make a citizenship loan or a dreamer loan or a responsible alternative to a payday loan. So we know how to make that work, but it's crazy to think that everybody's going to become just like us, that everyone's going to hire ex-investment bankers and commercial bankers and build their own little mini investment bank inside their foundation or family office. And it's crazy to think, and boy did I run out of time, it's crazy to think that every social entrepreneur out there is going to turn into their own investment banker, because that's what the world is today. You go around with your tin cup, and by the time you're done and each investor has hung an ornament on your Christmas tree, it falls over, because this apartment in your rental building is for a formerly drug-addicted veteran, and that apartment is for a low-income senior, and this one's for somebody who's working in this band of the income, and it's just a big Rubik's Cube of a mess. It's stuck. That's the impact investment market that we live in today. And again, it's a huge opportunity. There's a ton of money on the sidelines, but investors need things that the demand side for capital can't accommodate. They need patient money on the social sector side of the table. They need it customed. They need large blocks of money, not little bits and pieces. Investors, they like themes, place, climate. The social sector, they need to be sustainable. They need to be scaled. So, we have a vision, and we've been working on it for 2 years, and things are starting to really come together. Some of what we think is that we need to start creating the products ourselves. That a foundation like ours, we need to jump into that breach. We need to put money out there for platforms where the products that do exist can be found, bought and sold. We need to make the pooling and blending of capital. We know one size doesn't fit all. We've got to make it faster and easier, whether it's a social impact bond or a stacked fund that puts subsidy from public sector and private sector money together. And we need portals to find the information about the models that work, the term sheets, the things that exist, And we need resources to do the R&D that puts it all together. So I'm going to give you 3 examples, and then I promise I'll sit down so we can have a Q&A. One is a liquidity facility that we just completed. $50 million went into this first ever nonprofit-sponsored real estate trust in the country. They were fast growing, but they were 2 years out of the gate, and they needed $50 million of permanent capital fast. And what we did that we'd never done before is we said, you know what? 5 years from now, we'll invest in that entity and take out you investors who are worried you might not have an exit. And we don't even have to have this thing crash and burn. We'll guarantee you even if there's a good scenario, because we believe in the enterprise and have done the work, and we'll make a market start to happen right now. And we launched at the end of April our first ever managed fund. It's called Benefit Chicago, and it's a collaboration with the Calvert Foundation, which is offering a turnkey note to investors that you can buy for $20 online, $1,000 through a broker, or you can do it through your donor-advised fund if you're lucky enough to have one at the Chicago Community Trust. Just check a box. And what we will do through our managed fund is make sure the money is delivered high impact, custom, and where it's really needed most, and take the friction out of the system so that we can bring $100 million together faster than ever before and get it out into the world faster and better than ever before. And finally, a portal that just went live, and it's called the Impact Terms Portal Project, and it's documenting all kinds of fabulous ways that people are aligning mission and money, because we want to make it much, much easier for people to stop reinventing the wheel and learn from each other. These are some other organizations we're working with right now. We have lots more than this, but these are some of the things we're doing, and we really invite you all to share your ideas, come with us on the journey, and collaborate, because we cannot get to the place we want to go if we don't put our forces together, collaborate, innovate, and just imagine an impact investment market that works to be better, faster, and easier for everybody all around. Thank you.